coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, where you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, and the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is August 12th, 2022, and this is episode 152 of the Workshop Podcast. So this is a little bit different. I told you guys there'd be no live show this Saturday, so instead I'm running a two-part pre-recorded discussion roundtable I had with Nicole Sauce and John Willis on Wednesday. So you'll get part one today, which is Friday, and part two tomorrow, Saturday, in your podcast feed. So I hope you enjoy it. I always have a wonderful, killer time chatting with those guys. So real quick, I'll just get a couple of things out of the way for you and we'll head into it. Sunday evening, my guest will be J.R. Haley, chatting all about guns. What a good feller he is. So drop by the live stream and check that out. And of course, if you're looking for a way to support the content that I create, we just recently launched the membership support, the Patch of the Month Club. So every single month you will receive a high quality, politically incorrect, sometimes hilarious, tactical or morale patch in the mail. $10 a month or $100 a year. You can sign up at patchofthemonth.co. And yeah, that would be the best way you can support the content that I create. So thank you guys. And if I give you value for it, for the work that I put into this, feel free to subscribe and support. And lastly, the tool, today's tool is the ERICKSON 20-foot recovery strap. Used that this morning to pull an old run-down zero-turn mower around my my driveway. The thing works great. I've used it a bunch of different times to pull people out of the ditches. It's 20 feet, it's under $30 on Amazon, and it's just an absolute must-have in your automotive emergency bag. Okay, guys, so with that, let's dive into part one of the Wednesday afternoon live I had with Nicole and John.
All right, that's our weird intro for the day. Welcome to the live. I felt like we had to do some sort of tribute to Olivia Newton-John today because we lost her this week. And for many of us in the age group that I'm in, and some people older than me and some people younger than me, Olivia Newton-John was a fixture. The movie Grease was a huge part of my growing up. And then I found out it's Amanda Willis's all-time favorite movie. So I thought, well, we better do something from Grease then. And then I heard this is not the song that impacted John. So John, tell us your Olivia Newton-John story.
Oh, I don't have a bad story about it. I went to a daycare center after school. It's like a Christian church daycare center where I would get stuck from age 3rd to 5th grade every day after school. And there was a record player there, and there was one record, and it was Olivia Newton-John, whatever record that had Let's Get Physical on it. So I didn't dislike it at all, but I heard it every single day for 3 years.
Yeah, that song reminds me of a 1980s, early 80s aerobics class.
Yeah, well, that's what she was dressed as on the cover of the album.
Yeah, we really dressed like that, guys, in our aerobics with the headband and the leg warmers. Yep, well, that was the thing.
You did. You still do.
I was going to say
I still do. Yeah. Well, why spoil perfection?
Bringing it back.
Yeah,
whatever works. You just need a perm now.
Now I'm going to have to wear a headband and leg warmers when I sing at Self Reliance Festival. All right. Do you have an Olivia Newton-John story?
I was just a little before my time. Not much, but I remember her. But you know,
are you saying we're old?
No, I didn't want to. I knew you were going to ask me that, and then I was going to look like a dick. And no,
What did she die of?
Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. So she had breast cancer, I think, in her 40s, and she was 73. And just the cancer came back, I guess, around 2013. So she's been battling it. But for me, it was kind of a weird, like I'm at the age where things I watched as a child, people from that era are dying. And as a child of the 80s, I saw a lot of things that may have been earlier, like a lot of Star Trek, those sorts of things, So Captain Kirk hasn't left us yet, but it's going to happen.
He's in his 90s. And he doesn't look like it. Like,
didn't Spock die? The actor who played Spock?
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy's been gone a while.
Yeah, I always forget their names.
That's all right. Used to be a big Trekkie years ago.
I was too, but I didn't remember. I know their characters, not their names.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, well, we're here today to talk about busting your balls. That's basically the topic. If anybody read the promo for this show, it's come on and find out about why your excuse ain't an excuse. Because Toolman Tim is a man who has built the life he wants to live. He's built a great income by doing it, not by investing thousands of dollars into buying a business or into a pyramid marketing scheme or any of that crap. So Tim, can you just tell us a bit about like how you got from crap, there's no money in my bank account, I got to do something and I don't want to work for the man to here?
Yes, I'll try to do it in under 3 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, we spent a lot of time broke as a joke. I always worked for the man and I was always miserable. And on more than one occasion, I walked away from a job with zero notice because I was so burnt out. And it just, I know it's not the thing to do. Don't follow what I did, but I did. So yeah, started a business as a handyman, which was really, hey, I will do anything for money short of, certain favors. And so I started that and it failed miserably. I wouldn't say it failed. I just didn't know what I was doing when I first started. So I thought, well, let's go back and start working again. So I went back and started working at a hardware store. Spent 1 year working there, spent that full year making contacts, working day and night. So, before work, after work, lunch break, clearing snow, whatever it took. Had about a year in. And again, I walked away from that job. Give them a little bit of notice this time, but that was it. So I basically built what is now a property management business, started as a handyman business, just pulling ads off Facebook. Anything anybody was looking for, I'd do it. I cleaned cars. I shoveled dog shit. I climbed up on roofs and inspected chimney. Whatever somebody wanted, I would basically do. And then I started, as I get going, picking up more and more work, finding the things I really like to do. And then I started focusing on the things that made me the most money for the least amount of work. Got it built up. Now I have around 40 units that I look after for property management, which is a big portion. We have around 40 properties we do snow removal for in the wintertime, which is a huge portion of my income. Then we took a lot of the money that we made from this business, launched my wife's daycare business, which I have to shout them out because they are buying the building they are in this week. It is a big fucking deal. Can I say that? Sorry. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I am so proud of her. Yeah. Oh, there. Yeah. It's a big fucking deal. So we put, like, I didn't know if we were going to sink or swim, but I knew that I was going to make it work. And we did. And yeah, it just kept going and going. And we're in a way, way better place than we were 5 years ago and a hell of a lot better than we were 10 years ago.
And what did it take for you to do that? Because when I promoted the show, I started it with the following quote: "The world is ending. I can't fix my plumbing. I'm stuck in a job I hate." And it's like, okay, let's talk about how not to be this asshole.
Yes. So, you know what? Okay. I always say that abject poverty is one of the best motivators in the world. And we bought our own house years ago and had zero money to fix anything. So it was either deal with a septic line that was completely collapsed or rent a tractor, dig my own hole, and build my own septic system, which I totally didn't do, although I'm sure the statute of limitations is past now. So it was a matter of just learning. My ass hung out second story windows, installing insert windows I'd never done before. I talked to people. I asked them how to do this because I had no money to hire anyone. Siding last year, I had never done siding before. I sided my entire house. Did I have one piece of siding blow off in the wind? Yeah, I did. And I fixed it and I'm better for it. Right. Decks, I built decks, all of that. And it all started from not knowing how to do something, not having the money to hire a guy, and figuring it out. If you go in your basement and you've got a gushing pipe in your basement that water's flying out and you don't know what to do, first thing you do is go over and shut your water off. Then you've bought yourself some time. Then you go on YouTube and you look, what can I do? And then, it might be as simple as cutting up an old bike tire, take the inner tube, wrap it around and put 2 pipe clamps on it and getting you through till Monday morning. But don't be scared to do it. That's the thing. So many people are just like, I think I'm going to kill someone. No, maybe electrical. I was always told, if you give somebody bad plumbing advice, they'll have wet feet. If you give them bad electrical advice, they might die. So you want to be careful. But other than electrical, experiment with anything. You're not going to make it worse. If you've got fucking water coming all over your basement, you're not going to make it worse by trying to fix it. So start there, and it's okay to be scared. Man, I was insecure about doing this stuff for a long time, but I learned as I went, and you build up some confidence as you go.
Yeah, I had to learn a lot of things because I bought my first home, and in order to get that done, had no cushion.
Right. Yeah.
And then my water heater broke. Like week 1, water heater breaks. My best friend drives me to Home Depot, says, I'm buying you a water heater. I'm showing you how to put it in. And that was plumbing and electrical. And that was sort of like, it removed all barriers or fears of fixing stuff or trying to fix stuff, because it was, I mean, it's relatively easy. The hard part about a water heater is that they're heavy, especially if you have one full of rust. But other than that, it's like wire, pipe, done. And, that might take you longer if you've never done it before, but I became fearless. I ended up having to rewire that whole house. So
troubleshooting. Once you learn the skill of troubleshooting, you can apply it to anything. I got a call 2 nights ago. Dishwasher was leaking all over the floor at a third floor apartment. The lady, I said, okay, is it leaking that you can't shut it off, or did it slow down? She said, yeah, it slowed down and then it shut off. So I said, okay, good. Just put towels down. I'll come by tomorrow morning, because it's almost 10 o'clock at night. And so she did. I went in, and you look at the obvious. If water's coming out, you look where the water comes in, find out where it was. I tracked it down. I followed it, and I just followed the hose up. And I'd never fixed a dishwasher like that before, but the hose had over maybe 10 years vibrated off the supply end, and it was just gushing out on the floor. So I put them back on, a couple of hose clamps later, put everything in. But just take your time, look at where the problem is, and then trace it back to see what's causing it, and then see what you can do to fix it. Each time you do it, you'll get a little better. If that makes sense, for sure.
Yep. Okay, we got a question. What are some regular semi-collapse, full-blown collapse business ideals?
You're talking about this last night on Live Feed.
Yeah, you were. I dropped in for a few minutes. So I would say anything. I don't want to say anything, but I mean, you can live wherever you want to live in the mindset that something's going to collapse or something's going to, but I think you need to build the best life you can build right now that makes you the most money, and invest it in whatever you can. But I mean, I'm obviously partial to being a handyman, because, what better skills in a post-apocalyptic setting would there be than a handyman, or maybe a doctor, of course. But anything low investment up front is great. I always tell people, walk in your garage, do a 360-degree circle, see what you have. Do you have a ladder? Well, then you can go clean people's gutters. Do you have a pressure washer? Then you can go wash off people's decks. Whatever you already have, figure out a way to start making money. Even if you don't want to do that, figure out a way to start making money with what you have, and then invest it to build what you really want.
Yeah, it's interesting how that question is framed, because the answer is I don't know, because I don't know what collapse means.
Right.
Collapse can mean anything. We can collapse in so many ways. There's a way we think we might be collapsing right now, but we don't know how that's going to play out. I think the most important thing to do now is develop resilience, develop your creativity, develop the ability to identify opportunities and take advantage of that, and learn how to take care of yourself and your family and tap into your community, because that's where the strength is. And then whatever happens, you can figure out the what, because is it how to make money through collapse, or is it how to not starve to death? Like, what is your goal there? But if you build something for a collapse that never happens, you can invest a lot into something that's completely useless.
What I hear with that, and I think I know what he meant when he said collapse. But what I hear is, hey, I have this job that I'm too comfortable at, or you typically hear, I can't leave my job because of insurance or 401k or whatever it is, right? And you don't want to do that job, but you want society to collapse so that job goes away, right? So what can you do on the weekends as a side hustle? And I don't even like the word side hustle. It's just what can you do on the weekends that fucking makes you money, right? So go make money on the weekends and find out what you like doing. And bonus, if you're working 5 days a week, what do you spend your money on, right? What's your hobby? So if you can develop that into making money and into a normal income, then you're never going to hate going to work. I don't ever wake up in the morning and go, shit, I got to go to work. It hasn't happened in 30 years. I haven't ever thought that, because when I was working bullshit jobs, I was spending my money to buy material and buy sewing machines and build this stuff. When I'm skiing, I'm thinking the whole time I'm on the snow, I need to make these straps that hold my skis back to back so that I can carry my skis easier. When I'm diving out in La Jolla Cove or anywhere in San Diego, I'm underwater and I'm thinking, man, I would really like to put a Camelback on the side of my steel cylinder so that I can hydrate my mouth while underwater so it's not so dry, right? So everything I did was to do that. That was always the thing that was there at the end or during. So what is that for you? What does that look like? And if, society collapses, people are going to need things. Like, what's the service? Like right now, I'll pay a dude $100 to show up here today and come pull weeds out of my gravel. You don't even have to go out in the bushes or anything. Just pull weeds out of my gravel, pull them out with the roots, fill the wheelbarrow up, $100. You can work as long as you want. And when the dude shows up and does a fucking awesome job, I will give him $200 for it. And it just rained here. It rained yesterday, so they come out easy. I literally pulled 100 pounds. I pulled a wheelbarrow full that I had 3 times the amount of the size of the wheelbarrow in there in 30 minutes just yesterday. So, I mean, just you have to find people that don't want to do things and then do them and then negotiate what is that price cost? What is that? There is work everywhere. You just have to go find that work. You just have to, or even go to a place. Like if I was going to be the weed guy, I'd go to a place where there's gravel and there's weeds all through it. And I'd take an 8x8 section and I would strip that thing clean. And I'd go find the dude that owns the property and goes, hey, come check this out. I will make this look like this for $100. I'll do the rest of this. Like I've done it for free. This is the example of what it could look like. And always give a little more value. And number one, do what you say you're going to do, plus a little more, and always do it when you say you're going to do it.
Yep. That's something that, I feel like when I moved from the West Coast to Tennessee, there was a whole lot more not show up factor here. Did you have that experience, John?
Oh, it's hugely. Like when I was moving to Tennessee, we were at a big auto shop this guy we know owned. And he said, so you're moving to Tennessee. He goes, you're about to find out what Tennessee time is. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, people there's no urgency to do anything. There's no urgency to get things done. We had a guy come in here to do tile in the bathroom in the shower. And he's like, okay, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll quote it and we'll be back with some final numbers in 2 weeks. I'm like, what do you mean 2 weeks? Why 2 weeks? Well, Christmas is coming up. So you need 2 weeks off to go for Christmas or whatever. And this is like the local guy, right? Yeah, there's no urgency. And it's even more baffling now with the economy the way it is and people having to use credit cards to buy food and just shuffling money away and cable getting cut off, repossession of cars are through the roof. But people are not showing up to the jobs. Like there's work to be had. They're just not, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, it's funny because I think, Tim, you did a series on how to develop your handyman business, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of it is like, go quote the job, go do the job, even if it takes more than, oops, I totally messed that one up, and get it done. And then charge what you said you were going to charge, even if you screwed up.
Yes.
And they will want you back, even though it's going to cost them more next time. Looks like you got a new member, John.
I see that.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think that's yours because I don't have memberships on mine.
Thank you.
Nova Scotia was like that too, where I grew up. Again, the East Coast, well, just the rural kind of mentality. Well, if a plumber says he'll be there, it could be today, it could be in 3 weeks. And when I came to, I was asked this question the other day about what was it like moving from a place where people didn't like to pay for things or maybe necessarily show up on time to somewhere where it was. Well, when we came out here, people, for the most part, if a plumber or an electrician said, hey, I'm going to be here, I'm here. And it's kind of a little more rigid way to build a business around. But yes, as far as starting a handyman business or any business, half of it is just showing up. When I first started with my business, it was simply, people were excited there was somebody doing all the shit that nobody else was doing around town. And every time you go somewhere, they're like, oh, this is great. There's nobody that trims hedges or rake lawns or, cleans up dog poo. And you call me, you give me a price, and you do it for that price. And I'm telling you, especially early on, there were a bunch of times that I priced the job and I was gritting my teeth the whole time. But at the end of the job, I charged them what I told them because that's what I said I was going to do.
I tell guys that, like, everybody's like, I want to move to Camden, Tennessee. And I'm like, look, there's nothing here. You can live like a king, but you have to bring some kind of business. There's no work to take here, right? Not that you want to do. And I said, come in and be the handyman guy. And if you're the handyman guy, find out what everybody else is charging and be the most expensive handyman guy. And when they're like, well, you're overpriced or you're this or that, I'm going to do what I tell you I'm going to do. And when I'm done, the job's going to be right. And if something happens, I'm going to be accessible and I'm going to be back there. There's several dudes that have moved here and they are the handyman guy. And all of their work comes off of a local Camden, Tennessee group on Facebook. And I see them all the time. And every time somebody's like, hey, who should I use? It's this dude who hasn't even lived in this town for a year. And they're constantly calling him because the other dudes you call who have lived here the 15, 20 years I'm here, they don't even come and quote jobs. Like, you can't get a guy.
Yeah. You can't get a guy.
But he's making tons of money. Like, I see him making it.
No, I have a friend who got out of the military, he was in another state, spent a year getting his electrician certifications.
Nice.
2020 hit, shutdowns, all that. He was in one of the states you don't want to be in for that. And he started looking in Tennessee, and he was originally planning to stay up there another couple years to get, journeyman status. And then he was like, it will add 6 months if I move to Tennessee. So I'm moving to Tennessee. He moved to Tennessee, started his, at first worked for another electrician and then started his own business. He has so much work that he can't find people to work for him. He is doing great. And it's just because what he does, he tells you, I'm too busy to come over because I'm working this other job. I'll be able to get there in 2 weeks and quote it. And then 2 weeks later, knock, 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 he's there to quote it. Then he gives you the quote the same day. And if he says he's going to show up, he shows up. And if something comes up that keeps him from getting there, he calls you and tells you what's going on. And that's it. That's what it takes. Just a good work ethic and the ability to communicate when things go bad.
The communication skills are lacking across the board. But as far, there's so many that just ghost you or don't call you back. I have a garage door that I ended up, I installed my own garage door this year because I had called the garage door company for 2 years in a row to get them here to do it. And
wow,
couldn't even get a price. And I was like, well, okay. So I went and bought the garage door and taught myself how to install a garage door. I got a garage door and an opener for half the price it would have cost them to bring me a garage door and install it. So 2 years I tried. Jason there said he owns a trash company and makes $7,000 a month picking up other people's trash. I'm telling you right now, if you have a truck, that is one of the best ways to make money. I love it. There's nothing I love better than pulling up somewhere, loading up garbage, throwing it on my truck and going to the landfill. It's one of the easiest jobs you can do. And it's one that people will pay you well for. I think in all the years I had one old guy who hollered at me over my price and I told him he wasn't my customer that I needed and had a nice day. That was it. But you can charge within reason quite a bit for hauling garbage away and people are happy to pay you.
Yeah, here, I think a lot of county areas in Tennessee, you don't have trash service.
Right.
And what we have in my county is a dumpster. And there's a dump, but there's also dumpsters around the county. You bring your trash to that dumpster. And every so often, somebody will put up a sign that says, $40 or $50 a month. They come take one can. And if they can line that all up in one area, yep, they just go through on the same day every week and do it. And I think that's a brilliant way to, that's what I mean by finding the opportunities, right? Okay.
A lot of that can be cash business too.
Yeah, I don't have any money and I'm out of work and I don't qualify for unemployment and blah, blah, blah. Cry tear in my beer. Oh, wait, there's a bunch of people around here who are employed who don't like having to put trash cans in their cars. They don't have a truck. Trash is nasty. I have a truck. I'll do it. Or I don't have a truck. I have a little rinky-dink trailer, or I'm willing to put trash in the back of my Honda Civic, like whatever it is. Once you start doing it, you start getting money, it builds your confidence, and you start seeing other opportunities.
In my little town, we have less than 2,000 people, and we have city garbage pickup for everybody. You have those gray bins that you push out. They don't do it for businesses. So there's a company here that rents dumpsters. There's another company that rents those same bins, but will pick up from businesses. And there's another company that has the half of an old, they take the box off a truck. They build a plywood bin around it. He hauls it out to oil sites and different things. They fill it up and he takes it to the dump for him on Saturdays. 3 different businesses all built. Plus I haul trash for people. So there's 4 businesses in a town of 2,000, all different niches for garbage. And
that's what,
yeah.
That's what Jason does. He's got a Chevy truck. He's got 2 of them. Like for guys in the city, you've never seen anything like this, right? You guys are used to the automated trash truck, and the cops come give you a ticket if you have your shit in the wrong trash bin and you got 3 different colors. Here, we put trash bags inside of an IBC tote and hope raccoons don't chew them all apart. And a dude comes by once a week and picks your trash up, and basically he's taken the side fencing panels off of a dog kennel, and you have a box in the back of your truck, and all those trash bags get thrown in there. We used to pay $14 a week. I think the price is now $20 or above for that. I have a waste management dumpster out here, the big green ones. If you want to see some crazy shit, start going down the conspiracy theory trail. Not even conspiracy, the criminal trail of waste management. It's fucking amazing. There's a lot of information there. With the mob and stuff. But like if I had to start a business, or if my kid came to me and was like, hey, I want to start my own thing, I would tell him trash. And I would say, hey, I would charge more, whatever those other dudes are charging right now, I would charge $5 more out the gate. Like that's what it would cost, because these guys are turning work down. We have all these people moving here. They've sold their California and New York homes for 3 times value. Come here, buy 100 acres of property. They're living in a travel trailer, and nobody can build their property out. So they're living in sheds and stuff. If you came in, and they have money, they have a lot of money for this area. Deal with those people. They are easy customers.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And it's one less thing they have to do when they're dealing with being on bare land.
Yep.
So easy win. And
you can come in because you know what they don't know, right? You can go rent a piece of equipment. That's the other thing, man. That's how the Diesel brothers started. They rented some equipment, did a job, built a block wall, rented an excavator. Now they own, millions and millions of dollars in equipment and all kinds of crazy stuff. Dave started a YouTube channel like less than a year ago. I think he's got 5 million followers now.
That's awesome.
Diesel Dave. It's awesome to watch. Just do what other people won't do. That's just what it comes. And running equipment and running a truck, like I'll bet Jason don't have air. He's a automotive repair dude. I'll bet his fucking air conditioning don't work in his truck. I'd get a comfortable ass truck, and my tractors all have air conditioning in them. You could run that stuff 16 hours a day, man, with a forestry mulch and clear property, and listen to your own music or listen to your podcasts, and you'll own that shit. In no time, you will own that stuff.
Yeah, you can charge a lot for that kind of work too.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it's literally like my lady out here, I had a big excavator here last week, and Melinda, she's like, is it easy to drive? I go, did you ever play Atari as a kid? She's like, yeah. I go, you can totally. And I had her out there driving it around and spinning the excavator around. Anybody can drive those things.
Yeah, it's really fun to drive that stuff. I think.
I'm renting a skid steer this weekend. I've only used it once. I had never used one before. I know, right? I have all these things I do and never used a skid steer before last summer. I hopped in it in 5 minutes. I was pretty comfortable with it. And talking about renting gear, I can rent a skid steer for just about $200 a day here. You know how much work you can get done? I used to rehab front lawns. So a big business that we do here, all of the plumbing, the sewer and water supply is quite old. So when the frost comes out of the ground, you'll get 8 or 10 houses in the town the water line will break. So then they have to dig it up. They got to let the dirt settle. And then insurance pays, me or someone else to go in and fix their front lawn. We would go in and dig all that up by hand because I thought it would be cheaper than renting a skid steer. No way. I'm done. Yeah, right? $200, and I can do what took us 10 hours hand digging in like half an hour. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah. So
it's a force multiplier.
Absolutely. And talking about renting, aerating lawns here is a big thing. People want you to, it's where they punch the holes and they leave like, looks like little dog poop everywhere. I'd never heard of it before I moved here. Somebody called me one day. They're like, "Do you aerate?" I'm like, "Sure." Didn't even know what it was at the moment.
Google's aerate.
That's why I went on YouTube. Didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what the fucking machine looked like. So I go on. Yeah, okay. I call the local rental place. Yep, it's $80 to rent it. Thought, okay. So I told the first customer, yeah, I'll come do it. It's $80. So I rented it. I brought it home. I aerated my lawn. Looked like shit, but I learned how to do it first. Then I went to the customer's place. Then I realized, wait a minute. So then I advertise. Now I charge about $100 to do an average lawn. It takes me 15 minutes to do the lawn. I'll usually get 10 or 12 in a day, make $1,000, $1,200, and it costs me $80 to rent it. And I don't need to winterize that gear all year. I'm not tripping over something that weighs 500 pounds. I just go pick it up. I wash it off. I fill it full of gas and I take it back. And in a day, I make $1,000 for an $80 rental.
That's a great way to make money. Hey guys, in the comments, if you have questions or topics you want to bring up, put them in the comments. This is supposed to be a two-way conversation, and John, Tim, and I could probably talk all day long about where to source stickers or whatever, but we could talk about a lot, which is what we were talking about before we went live. But we also wanted to orient this towards what you're interested in. So just throwing that one out there. John, what's been on your mind this week?
Shit, I don't know. Same as every other week, I guess. We're building product, shipping product. We're uploading between 3 and 5 videos every day on YouTube, social media posts. TikTok is still crazy. There's a bunch of little nitty bitches all over TikTok. It's insane. But I mean, TikTok is growing, right? I get more new people from TikTok, more new money from TikTok than all of the other platforms all combined right now. Somebody said, I watch a bunch of social media development places and TikTok pages and groups. And they said, you got to look at YouTube. You got to look at Facebook as though it's just Karens, right? It's people constantly complaining. And you look at Instagram as though it's 25 to 35-year-olds that want to see really pretty photos. And you look at TikTok as though it's 15 to 25-year-olds who have never been slapped the shit out of them. It's a trip, but the money is there. Some guys like, stop uploading this music. I hate this music. I'm like, you have a volume button. Like, he's like, well, I'm a musician, or I don't know, maybe he said magician. I'm a musician, and I just don't like this music. I go, man, I remember when I started this business 35 years ago. I've run this for 35 years. I remember when cassette tapes come out. I remember mini discs. I remember CDs. And I remember, what the problem with most people today is we have too many choices and we don't exercise the ability to do them. Instead, we want to vocalize the negative, where you could just, I told him, I go, man, if you hit the block button, you'll never see any of my content. And he goes, well, I want to see your content. I just don't like the music. And that's when I go, dude, you have choices, man. You have choices.
Yeah.
So it's a trip.
It's funny how people feel so entitled for things like that. I had a conversation yesterday. Somebody didn't like a platform and they were like, I just don't see the point of that platform. I'm like, well, this is why I use that platform.
What is it?
And they kept it. It's the Fountain FM app.
Okay.
And they were like, well, it just doesn't seem any different than this other platform. And it's significantly different in one way that is important to me, which is that it's tapping into the Lightning Network and it's like supporting a tipping culture. There's a lot of cool stuff there.
Monetization.
Yeah. And they're like, well, I'm going to keep using the app I like. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but why do I need to know that?
Right.
I support your decision. And, I think later it'll be one of those things that as it, as the kinks work out of that app, I think that one's going to make it, as long as they don't do something stupid as they scale out. Because right now what we're watching is a lot of adoption, and scale out decisions can kill a company. We've seen that with some of these other decentralized platforms where it was like, whoops, that was the wrong decision.
Gee, I wonder who you're talking about.
Nobody.
No, I know. So Fountain, the CMO, reached out to me this morning. He's
Yeah.
like, I just read your I just listened to your podcast. I did one on Fountain. He said, I loved it. I'd love to reach out and have a chat. That blew me away. So anyway, I booked a time with him.
Cool.
But if you're not using Fountain right now, so I just got to tell you, for $50 American, I mean, what can you spend $50 on?
Yeah.
I put my podcast in there. I pick an episode that I thought I really knocked it out of the park with. So I've done it twice now. They promote it on the front page. So $40 of that goes to pay listeners in Satoshis, the little mini Bitcoins or whatever. So they guarantee you'll get about 900 listens on an episode for it. Well, the first one I did, and now this one, I got around 2,500 listens for $40. And not just that, but my traffic, I would say I can't remember the exact numbers. I want to say between 15 and 20% sustained growth since then, the 2 and 3 weeks afterwards. So I did 2 weeks with a promotion, then I did 2 weeks without the promotion. And now I just ran a new promotion and I saw about 15 to 20% growth from that first one. And I think more people are catching on. This one is taking a little longer to work its way through the full. There's more people promoting now, but it's still working just as good. And if you're not using it, man, I love the.
I've been promoting clips instead of episodes. I found a good 8-minute clip about one of my horror stories here and put it out. That thing's been going crazy. I put it out yesterday.
And so it costs you, right? All you have to do is convert 2 of those listeners to monetization, right? So if I can sell 2 of those listeners a $25 t-shirt, that paid that $40, right? It's $50 for the 2 shirts. Just convert them.
That's not, I mean, $40, $50. What is that even, right? And I got a shout out too, John. You kicked my ass last time I was on. Said if you're not doing TikTok, you're stupid or whatever.
Yeah,
you're doing it way better. I'm watching your TikTok to see how I.
So listen, I put one. I got a little. I don't want to say lucky. I put it on. I had a video go viral, got 1.5 million views. So I'm at like 4,000 and some followers. In that first month, traffic to my website doubled. Yep. My Amazon affiliate sales doubled. We're not talking huge numbers yet, but just that alone was huge. And it's sustained too. It slowed down because that one video kind of petered back, but I'm still getting about half my website traffic to my Amazon affiliate from TikTok. It's awesome. Like, thank you for busting my balls on that because it's easy. Listen, yes, 2 days ago, Becky's in the passport office. I'm like, you know what? I flipped through. I found one of my money-making minute videos from almost 2 years ago about my favorite Gorilla Glue products, or my Gorilla products, right? I downloaded it on my phone. In half an hour, I had turned it into a 1-minute TikTok. I uploaded it to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and now some of my creator friends are telling me that Facebook is the place to go. A few people have gotten monetized on there. They'll pay you $1,200 a month, or that's the cap they'll pay you if you're starting to get good traffic. My buddy Joseph Mills has been putting them on there. He had one video do over 1 million views on Facebook. So, and what is that? I make one video, I post it to 4 places, it's done. And I can't even get monetized on Facebook or TikTok in Canada. But that doesn't matter because it's driving traffic to my website.
So I've been authoring my videos. So I go into Instagram, find previous posts for the product, copy and paste so I have the hashtags.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And then I go to TikTok, author the video because it's so simple. And I can put 5-6 video clips together in TikTok and move my audio around. And if I'm putting up I put up a new shirt, right? This is our new shirt.
Love it.
In TikTok, I type in new shirt in music and it gives me 100 songs that have new shirt, right? So if I got a new shirt, I got a new shirt. So that's the play. That's the track. I can maneuver it. And then I share it on TikTok. I copy paste all my hashtags and then I change the text. And then I copy paste that final text. And then when it authors up and posts, then I share it from TikTok to Instagram. I share it from TikTok to YouTube. And then I'll put my overlay words in there. But I have a feeling, so like monetizing those shorts in Facebook, I would suspect that you won't get any monetization if you're just sharing it from TikTok. So you have to re-author the whole thing.
So I edit in CapCut, so it gives me a raw video. Then I upload directly to each one, because what I found was when you upload to TikTok and then it downloads to your phone and it has that watermark, most of the other places seem to treat it not so great. Like I think it's like sloppy seconds.
Yeah, I think that is the case.
And now for a totally different topic. No, go ahead.
There is another software package. I want to say it costs $45 a month, and it's for content creators that are cross-platform.
Yeah.
So you actually load it in this, and it auto posts all of your stuff to every other platform that you use.
Do you know the name of it?
No, but I do. I don't have it here.
40 is a really good price for that.
Yeah.
Most of the ones I know of are more in the $250 to $500 a month range. If there's a $40 a month one, I will take that one on.
I follow a couple of girls on TikTok. One of them, she just buys businesses. She's buying and flipping businesses. Another one, she always wears like kind of a witch's hat, and she's got long blue hair. And every day, every post she makes is something that I'm like, holy shit, we can use that. We can use that. We can use that. It's just 100% actionable.
So I highlighted this comment for the last 27 minutes because
sorry, I got carried away.
Well, no, because it was good what you guys are saying, but I didn't unhighlight it because this is something that I find very frustrating in the world, is not people having trouble making a choice or being terrified of making a choice. So Ken's saying I've got kids who are terrified to make a choice about a fast food joint.
You want my answer to that?
Probably going to be mine too. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Well, then they don't eat that night. Your kids, when your kids won't eat pepperoni pizza and they'll only eat chicken nuggets or whatever, your kid's never been hungry. It will be okay. That little motherfucker doesn't eat tonight, and tomorrow when he's hungry, that food is there from last night. Like I bet you they make a decision next time. My friend John Dillard, Master Sergeant John Dillard, he used to talk about him and his sister would bicker in the back of the car. And they had driven all the way from San Diego to Disneyland, right, in Anaheim, California, 2.5 hour drive, whatever. They get to Disneyland, they're bickering, and mom's like, we're going to turn around and go home if you don't stop. And they're bickering and bickering and bickering. They get to Disneyland, and they drove all the way back home. He said, my sister and I never fought again. He said, as kids, we'd be in a restaurant, and we'd be doing something stupid, and mom would literally throw iced tea on you. Like, you get iced tea and ice cubes. That shit stopped. It just ended right then. They just don't go to Disneyland that time. They will remember it the rest of their lives, and they will be able to make decisions from there forth.
Yeah. So but the other deeper thing is the culture of being terrified to make a decision.
Who instilled that? Public school? I mean, where'd that come from?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's everything. It's public schools. It's supported by social media. It's supported by mainstream media. It's supported in the programming we see on TV that there is a right answer and a wrong answer. And people are so terrified of either making the wrong answer or making somebody else unhappy because they chose the wrong fast food restaurant for everybody else that they just don't say what they think.
Yeah, I promise you that if I'm ever going or Amanda ever goes for fast food, when our kids were little, it's one fast food. We're not going to multiple windows, right? And when I'm going someplace and I ask my employees what they want, I'm not bringing you fucking drinks. I'm not bringing 15, 20 sodas back, right? Tell me what you want. You can drink something that's here. And I know Ken, right? I know that there's more to that story, right? Ken's got his shit together.
It's not his kids.
God kids.
Step kids.
It's his God kids.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally different level of power there in the upbringing. But yeah, it's just, I try to facilitate ways when I come across kids who are like this, who I'm with, to get them to make a choice. So somebody said, I give my kid two choices. You can have chicken nuggets or pizza. Which is it going to be? And then they have to choose. And getting kids over that thing by reducing the choices helps them start having the balls to make the choice. And if you do that young, when you see that, I think it's a really good thing, because then later in life, when somebody's like, do you like soda or do you want a beer or whatever it is? And they're like, the wrong decision. Or what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. What's the right decision? They've made enough decisions and lived with the consequences that they realize the consequences of the other decision aren't that bad. And I think we've really made people terrified of consequences. And most consequences aren't terrible. Like, I've had terrible things happen in my life, and here I am still alive, basically healthy, you know.
Successful,
Yeah. And there have been times when I've really, really struggled, and I'm sure it'll happen again, but it never killed me. And if it does, then I won't care because I'll be dead.
Yeah.
I remember it was in the late 90s. I heard it on the radio. They said then that our generation had to make more choices in a day than our great grandparents made in their lifetime.
Yep.
But my big thing is just make a decision. If you're trying to figure out whether you're going to do this or that for business, doing something is better than doing nothing almost every single time. Just start getting your feet moving and then make adjustments as you go. But try not to get paralyzed with the fear, because that's where you end up doing nothing. Again, you stand there at the goddamn drive-through window all day wondering, should I have Diet Pepsi or fucking Fanta? Just do it.
Action. It's just
neither. You should have water.
It's just action. And if the 90% is fearful, that's fine. I'll rent properties to them.
Yes,
they won't ever have anything. Stay your 90% ass, group in fear. That's fine. Because the other 10%, because I'm not friends with those 90%. I don't typically, people that come around and people that consume content, they don't like the things I say if they're in the 90%, unless it's somebody really trying to change their life. And then they're going to come and in some manner, we're going to be friends or do business.
Yep. Okay. I have another starred one to bring up here. Just have to operate the mouse. I have many people ask me how to stay motivated. Any advice? Do something you love.
John's probably the best one to talk about, but just start, because so many people say I'm not motivated. Even my son, he struggles with this. He said, Dad, how do you do so much in the day? And I said, what's that?
How old is he?
25, 24. Yeah. Okay. And, he's doing a hell of a lot better than he was. I'm proud of him. But yeah, Chris is right. Don't stop moving. Start moving first, though. Because so many people sit at home and they say, I'm not motivated or I'm depressed. And the problem is you get in that stupid, I don't mean, whatever. And you get in that mindset. Yeah. You just sit there. I do it. So I'm not going to lie. I get caught in it sometimes too. But you just sit there. And once you start doing one thing, you feel like doing more. Last night I got done on the live stream and I went out and started cleaning up the garage because it's been a week and a half since I'd been able to put since I made enough time to put my tools away. When I started, it's just one thing after another. But once you start, one foot in front of the other, you don't want to stop. But
physical movement usually brings clarity of mind. If you turn this thing off, like literally leave this. When's the last time anybody in the audience has gotten in a vehicle and gone somewhere and not had this thing? We actually panic when we're not sure where it is, right?
Oh, yes.
Leave this thing alone. Like, most of your problems will go away because you will have clarity and focus. Just move. Just fucking do something. Just literally do something. I got a friend who's making like multi-millionaire. Like he's doing property stuff every month. It's over $3 million, $5 million deals. And when he flips them, he makes $10 million on like tons of money, right? Everything should be fine in his life. So like I had a fucking full mental breakdown on Sunday. Couldn't move. I went into my gym. I sat there for 3 hours just staring, didn't do shit. You know what fixed the problem? He went and put some fence line up. He just bought some horses. He's like, I just started digging holes in rock. And he said 3 hours later, every single thing that I thought was wrong is gone. I have clarity. And this week I've done more on Monday and Tuesday than I did the last 30 days. It's just movement.
Yeah, movement's really important. I know when I'm writing a hard article, like I'm a pretty good writer, but the sitting down and writing part of that's very hard for me. So I'll sit down and I'll write some bullshit, and then I'll go outside and I'll work in the garden for a while, or I'll do something. Yep. And the whole time I'm writing in my head, and it's not even in the front of my consciousness. It's subconsciously. And I'll get done with the project and I'll be like, that feels good to have accomplished something. And then I'm like, I'm ready to write. And then I write. And if you interrupt me when I reach that zone, I'll have the article written in 20 minutes at that point. Well, I really spent 6 hours writing it. It was just most of it was done out in the yard while I was doing something else.
Yeah. And you can talk to, when you have good ideas, you can talk the text to it. I mean,
Yes.
I just told you to leave this thing somewhere else, but you can write it down, jot it down, text it. Like I usually just private message it to my wife, to Amanda, and she's like, "What the fuck was that about?" And that's because I have it there. It's there.
I do the same thing with Becky all the time. I'll just send her a random text like, "What the hell is that for?" I'm like, I just didn't want to lose the thought. I said, just send it back to me or it'll be there.
Yep.
Just ignore it if it's some random bullshit. I'm going to go look at it later.
It's like, hon, what is this about the 10 benefits of saving milk crates? What the hell is this, Tim? You know?
We need to bring the milk crate challenge back.
Yes, that tomorrow's show is all about the beauty of the milk crate on my podcast. So
I love milk crates. They're actually really good freezer organizers if you have a deep freeze.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
11.
Yeah. I do a lot of so every 2 weeks I have about a 5 to 6 hour round trip where I check on all my bank properties, and I'll usually put an audiobook in, and that's what I do. I drive and I'll do talk to text, because especially I find that first hour on the road, my brain makes all these connections, and I paragraphs and paragraphs of ideas sometimes. And if I don't write them down, they're gone just like that.
Yep. Yeah. I can't tell you the number of times I've decided, okay, Monday's show is going to be about topic, and it's Sunday night. And I'm like, I'll remember that. Say it to myself 3 times, make a mental image that's a graphical, reminder, like all of this stuff to remember it. I get up and I'm like, I don't know what my show's about today. I should have written that down. So now around my house, you'll just find random notes. Like dealing with loss on the homestead was on my kitchen counter on a piece of paper, like, scrap paper like this with a bunch of, I was, oh yeah, that's what my podcast is about today. Okay, we'll do it.
Michael V said, "Where do you find milk crates?" I would suspect that a portion of the audience has never even seen a real milk crate with the metal band around it. Like we used to put motorcycles on. Most milk crates that you see now, like at Walmart or whatever, they are not real milk crates. It's a very different animal. You want the ones that say prosecution, federal prison, don't steal these. Those are the real milk crates.
Yeah. Hatcher Dairy.
Landfill. I do, if you start, because again, when I do property cleanups for people, I save so much shit. Only the good stuff though, don't get buried in it. But we cleaned up an empty property the other day. I came home with 2 milk crates. That's always the highlight of my day, is how many milk crates I can find in a garbage cleanup. But
a lot of times people come into a new property and want all that shit moved out. There's stuff of value there. You can take that stuff and sell a ton of that shit.
Yeah,
I do. I try to focus on either small, high dollar items or big stuff that I can flip really quick. Because I used to get really bad. I got buried in shit that I shouldn't have kept. So you learn, and also building supplies, anything you can build something out of, save that shit and put it up overhead, whatever, because that's money in the bank.
Yeah. If it's over 6 inches, we save every wood. If it's over 6 inches.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna interrupt the show to say I've noticed that our head count keeps going up. That's great. Comment, hit the like button, share, and let people know we're having this conversation. It'll just keep the algorithms going. That helps us out. That helps us, be motivated to do this every Wednesday. End of commercial.
Somebody asked what my TikTok was. I posted it. I'm not sure which chat I'm posting in because it only shows up sometimes in here, but it's Toolman Tim's workshop, if anybody's wondering. So
not Taylor. Not Toolman.
Not Taylor. Yeah, somebody called me Toolman Taylor last night in the live stream. I laughed out loud. I was in bed watching your live stream, and you're like, "Hey, it's Tim the Toolman Taylor," and I'm like, "Yes, he called me that." So
I spent 30 minutes trying to forward you the message about all the new Milwaukee tools.
Oh,
and I couldn't find you on any platform because I was putting in Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Oh, sure you were. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That makes my day. I've got we're both in the Telegram group for SRF now. You can grab my name there. That's cool.
So this message reminds me of my best dumpster score ever. So the cool thing about bringing your stuff to the dumpster in the county is other people bring useful stuff to the dumpster in the county. I drove up once. I got 50 T-posts, metal T-posts. And they all had a little bit of barbed wire that I had to cut off each one. But I'm using those T-posts to this day. I'm not, I don't always dumpster dive, but when I do, it's got to be something good.
So as a child, I would go to the dump at Miramar in San Diego with my grandfather. And you would literally drive 20 minutes down dirt roads to get ready to dump in the trash, right? And when you get out, there'd be these enormous bulldozers just pushing piles of trash. And then on the edge, people would leave bicycles and generators and washers and dryers and all kinds of things. And you could dump your trash and grab whatever you wanted and put it in your truck. That is now illegal. You can't do that in San Diego any longer. I saw a show about someplace in Alaska, and they call it the shopping mall, and it's the same thing. When you go to the dump, people who don't want things leave them there, and you are more than welcome to take them. And there's building materials and scraps and you name it, it's all there. But most places, they make it illegal to even do that anymore.
Which is terrible, because what better way to recycle something and keep it out of the landfills that we're so concerned about than to just reuse the dang stuff?
Well, I mean, they let you sue for anything. I mean, if you come on the dump and you get hurt, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean,
suing is a problem.
There's firewood there that you could take home with you. Even if you're a kid, I've told this story. I used to walk the ditches and collect cans out here, but the cans that go to the landfill here are incredible too. And sometimes you'll see, sometimes you'll see copper sitting on the ground that was mixed in with the dump, the garbage. And man, if you want not an easy, but one way to make money that doesn't take a lot of space to store copper. I always collect all my scrap copper, but just look for it and bring it home with you or pick it up off the road or whatever.
Here's a good one. Hey, John and crew, how do you push through sickness and continue to run your business? I get sick once every couple of years. It really sucks my energy out for a few days.
I will
answer last.
What are we calling sickness, right?
I think they mean the flu or something.
Yeah, I don't have that option. My wife had carpal tunnel surgery. I think it was on a Wednesday morning, carpal tunnel surgery. She was in here doing payroll that night, and she was cutting hair that Friday at one of our parties. She cut a bunch of people's hair the same day. She had stomach surgery. They did some procedure in her esophagus years ago. She was here that day, right? We don't have that option. If you are so sick you can't move, well, then you're so sick and you can't move. You don't have that ability. Hopefully you get sick on the weekends. But I use my weekends probably more than I even use my 5 days through the week. If you can't, you can't. But I think people have been calibrated to where they don't have a fucking clue what they're capable of.
We just had COVID go through the house. And for the first time, I only missed one episode. And I was pretty fucking proud of myself. But 2 days where I was flat out on my back. First time that's happened in a long time. But, we have people and systems in place for us that can at least take care of it for those couple of days. So it was what it was. I mean, there was no option for me. And that's the first time since I've run my business that I was flat out on my back, and it fucking sucked. But, I had my son and my wife, and, my wife's going to Vegas in 3 or 4 weeks, and we are doing a whole bunch of work at the daycare. I'm here to take care of all the shit that she'll be gone to take care of. So, have a partner or a team or people in place that can help you too. That helps.
Yeah. I mean, I've got, hopefully Amanda and I won't ever be sick at the same time.
Right.
And my son works here and has keys and can do everything that needs to be done here. I don't know. And I don't know your situation, right? I don't know what we're talking about sickness. I also don't know what type of business you run.
Yeah. So I know I handle it as follows. One, I am roasting coffee and sending food to people. So if I have something that I think is contagious, like COVID, I'm not roasting anything. I'm not going to risk that. But I have somebody else who now has been trained up to roast who can come in and do it. And I'm set up so I can be completely quarantined in my house and they never have to see me, and it's all out there. So when I had COVID, it knocked me on my butt for a good 24 to 48 hours that I was really just not even very coherent. And during that time, I canceled one live stream with Tim, actually. I didn't show up to your show. I was like, sorry, man.
That's okay.
Because I remember I did a live stream and then it was you. And then there was a Friday live, I think, with John Willis. And that Thursday was the one I missed. And that was you. And it was because it was late in the day. And then I just had Michelle come in and handle orders every couple of days. So, it took a little longer to fulfill those orders. But the thing is, when you have your business and you're sick, you need to figure out either how to communicate what's going on or how to get around it. And then my strategy when I get sick, if I get sick, I budget time to hibernate. Like I'll be like, I'm going to get all my stuff done. And then I am going to bed. I am not doing extra stuff. I'm not watching shows. I'm going to bed and I'm going to stay in bed until I get better. Because what I've found is if you have something that is long lasting, like I have some long COVID symptoms that I've had since February that caused me to like that like defeating fatigue and body aches. It's super fun. And I can push through it. But there are times when it's like, okay, the body aches, I've been pushing those off for a few days. So today I'm going to have body aches and go to bed early and just do it all night, get it out of my system and go again. And that may not sound very healthy, but I feel like it's less healthy to just always give into it. You know, always give into it. Poor Tactical has to hear me bitch about it, but I also bitch about it.
I have 1,000 animals here. Those animals don't care whether I'm sick or not.
No.
They don't give a shit how I feel when the water gets filled in those waterers and how I feel or how I look when they get fed. They don't give it. They don't care. There's not a farmer out there that is not up at 4:30 every morning taking care of his animals, whether he's sick or doesn't feel well. It doesn't exist.
That's true. There are things that you just have to do every day, or you have to have somebody around you who can help you do it.
That's why most farmers' wives are just as capable as the farmer. You know, that everyone I know out here, that's the way.
Yeah. It's just a different cut from a different cloth.
Yep.
D3 and zinc. Absolutely, man. D3 and zinc. But and you can't just take zinc. You have to take Q-Certain. You can take as much zinc as you want, but your body won't absorb the zinc.
Yeah. You need the ionophore to open it up.
A lot of things will do that, but you should definitely throw Q-Certain in there as that.
Yeah, see, everybody's giving Tactical a hard time about going to the ER 3 times this year.
That's poor Tactical. That because it was only 2 recently. So was there another one recently? Poor guy.
I mean, he's had stitches, I think, 3 times in his finger. Yeah, 3 times.
It's because Nicole's like, you better get up and get out there and finish that.
That's right.
Right.
Pick those rocks. I can be a hard ass sometimes.
I just harvested my first comfrey.
Yay!
My buddy saw Chris Dixon in here earlier. He brought me up 4 plants. He came up and spent the weekend at our place and brought me 4 plants. I just harvested. You can't really see them, but I got 6 or 8 bundles of leaves. I'm drying out in my sea can. Going to try my hand at comfrey salve. So that's something new to us, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think you will find yourself successful at the salve.
I hope so. I'm sure. Yeah, we'll have fun with it. I always love new things anyway, but this was a little bit new for us and trying it. And my wicking bed went incredible this year, just incredible. I love that thing. If you're not building wicking beds, oh man, they.
So, really are you growing much food at your place at this point?
Not a lot. Right now, this is my first wicking bed. We got just blueberry. We got blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, comfrey. Yeah, I think that's what we put in that first one this year. And no excuse, just haven't done it. I go buy bulk from the Hutterites, bring it home, can it or use it. And as far as meat goes, I have a butcher that I buy directly from. Although I'm starting to think about, I had Mike from Snail Creek Homestead on the other night, and right in my town here we have an auction mart. My brother-in-law has a place out of town. I have a hoist in my garage, so I'm thinking it might be time to go buy a cow from the auction mart. Take it out of town, dispatch it, bring it back to my garage and butcher it. I think I could save about half the money doing that, and I love butchering things.
Awesome.
And it gets
I had to highlight this comment just real quick on a totally different subject. Somebody just said they lost 17 pounds changing how they eat. Good job.
Yep.
That's the first step to having more energy is carry around less.
Chef D, are you in fact a chef? I know I talk to you like every night. Are you a chef?
I love that name. Is it Chef Di or Chef D? Looks like, is that a DI? I don't know.
It's DI apostrophe. Yeah. No.
Trying to read, because you do your live streams on a phone, don't you, John?
Big iPad. People are like, recently people are back to, how come you do everything vertical? Because I always have. That's just how. This hurts my wrist, right? This doesn't. So.
I've been trying to shoot my videos with vertical in mind because with CapCut now, I switched to CapCut for my YouTube videos as well because they tend to be horizontal. And then, but you really only use this much of the screen anyway. So now it's a matter of just pulling it out and you're good.
Yep. Okay, no, but I cook every day.
Awesome.
Maybe you already don't know it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
I'm getting a freeze dryer. Oh, sorry. I was just
you got a freeze dryer?
It's coming within the month. So
Good.
yeah, I bought the large one. I figured for an extra $500.
Did you figure a workaround to the problems with the freeze dryer, or did you just do it?
For now, I'm just getting it, and I always figure out problems as I, solve problems as I go. But I'm
gotcha.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yep.
I'm going to take a lot of the hamburger that we get from, so I'm buying a side of beef. It should be here in September. My plan is to stock up a bit of it. I was not mad, but John, when you were pushing all the stuff on Amazon was so cheap, not in Canada, the freeze dried food, when not Mountain House, but the other one. So yeah, I can't, almost never can I get it. And when I can, it's super expensive. So I think I'm going to be able to pay for it fairly quickly. Well, I say quickly, relatively speaking, when you can deal with a $5,500 purchase. But yeah, it'll.
So is Canada putting a surcharge on the import for that, or is it just the shipping costs more? What's the?
A little of both. Like for instance, so I bought a wallet from you the other day, right? And I'm going to do a review on it. I love the wallet. So it was what was it to ship to Canada? $20 or something? I can't remember. But by the time it comes through, so I ended up paying well over $100 for the wallet, worth absolutely every penny. But it's always, you have to pay the duty fees when it comes across the border, and then shipping always costs a little bit more, and then food. And so with Amazon, it was for starters, we have less of a selection, so they just bring less stuff north of the border, and everything just costs more. And even after you figure in the exchange rate, it's usually about 20% more for products up here than it is south of the border.
Got it. So has anybody ever done hot dog carts? There are a lot of millionaires made from hot dog carts.
That's what we need at Self-Reliance Festival, a hot dog cart.
And the hot dog cart, and as you know, the hot dog cart is, steamer, or, there's different ways to do it. And then the condiments. There are people literally killed over hot dog cart permits in New York and different areas, right? There's a lot of information about that. And my guy, Pierre, he knows a fucking ton about it. If you're serious about it, I will put you with somebody that knows a lot about doing that. But man, that's a license to steal, man. That and pawn shops, and people make a ton of off the record money with hot dog carts or any food truck, man. If you get a food truck and you can hire some real Mexicans to do real Mexican food, like Tijuana Mexican food, you can make a ton of money.
There's I don't want to say very little, but as far as the upfront costs, especially for small hot dog carts, is way less than a full-fledged food cart too, or a food truck.
Yep.
I can tell you the best tamales I ever had in my life. I was in Houston, Texas at a bar with some friends, and a lady came in with a cart selling bundles of tamales, and we bought one and just split it. I've never had anything like those tamales since. They were so delicious. Find your thing like that and go for it, man. Worst case scenario, somebody quote unquote catches you doing that without a food handler's license and gives you a ticket.
Yep.
A good friend of mine, his grandfather bought an old bread truck and turned it into what he called Spudley Do-Right, and all they sold was cans of pop and French fries. And he would follow around each weekend to the different events in Nova Scotia. They'd have agricultural fair, that kind of stuff. And it was all who you knew. So he took his time and built relationships with these places, and he'd work his ass off for 2 days, but make, $5,000 to $10,000 in 2 days selling French fries and bottled and, canned pop. And he'd go buy it by the case. And that, was it an upfront investment? It was, but once he had it, it was a license to print money for sure.
Yep.
So Chef Di or Chef D, we don't know how to say your name. Can you tell us in the comments? D-I-E is Di and D-E-E is D. I think you need to put your money where your mouth is and come to Self-Reliance Festival and start selling some of those meatballs.
So my guy Tim does a meatball. It's about the size of a softball.
Yeah.
my construction guys that worked here, my outside guys, and he would make these meatballs, and they had a huge golf ball size pepper jack cheese inside.
Oh, yeah.
Them 360 in bacon, and then he would cook these up, and then when he would serve them, he would reheat them in an oven tray with barbecue sauce. Holy shit. Like these things, like one of them, you could barely eat one, but you would always eat two because they were so good, and then you'd be fucked up the rest of the day. Chef D, bring them, man. Bring it on. Let's see that thing, or mail them to us. I'll eat them. Just fucking send them here. We'll try them out. But and I think, I mean, I don't know, but I would think that making meatballs is probably easier than a lot of other stuff that you would do. Bring them suckers in here and sell them here at the event.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so guys in the comments, who's going to Self-Reliance Festival? Write Y or N in the comments. I'd like to know who on this live feed is going. And then I have a challenge that I've just thought of that we can do for those of you who are going. So just let me know in the comments if you're coming to the October 1st and 2nd Self-Reliance Festival. If you're wondering what the heck that is, Tim, are you going to Self-Reliance Festival?
Oh, you want to believe it. So if anybody has an excuse for not making it, well, yeah, I'm flying in. So for the record, I am flying in to Atlanta, driving to North Carolina, speaking at Prepper Camp for 3 days. That night, I am coming back to Camden, and I just today discovered that I'm going to TAC Response for 4 days, and then I'm coming to Self-Reliance Festival and speaking there. So don't make excuses.
What are you doing at TAC Response?
Handgun and rifle. I just called him this morning. So that's what I didn't think. Anyway, I'm probably crazy, but anyway, 4 days. I'll get there. I got to leave Prepper Camp a little early and drive straight through and be there for 7:30 Monday morning. So
awesome. Awesome.
Hey, Life Done Free is going to be there. You know who that is, right?
Who is it?
Tag at Life Done Free.
Oh, yeah. I'll be right back, guys. Speaking. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he's speaking. We just nailed that one down this week. His schedule, because there's a couple things going on at once. So I'm really excited about that because we're gonna have, him here.
What's
Looks like Jason.
About?
Tag, what are you speaking about? Give us your title. I'll be there in the same place. Do we know you're doing the thing you always do, Jason? I'll make sure you're on the list. Jason shows us how to make fuel, which is pretty darn important skill, especially, if you're looking for ways to make money after shit hits the fan, that would be one way. People are going to want to buy some fuel, don't you think, John?
Medicines, yeah, tinctures. Yep.
Tinctures are important.